really appreciate this chance to testify in support of the Charlie Morgan Military Spouses and Equal Treatment Act. And as I think you know, Mr. Chairman, this bill is named for Charlie Morgan, who is a former soldier and chief warrant officer in both the New Hampshire and Kentucky National Guards. She was a military veteran with a career that spanned more than 30 years. And I first met Charlie in 2011. She had just gotten back from a deployment in Kuwait and sadly had just been diagnosed for the second time with breast cancer. She was very concerned about the well-being of her wife, Karen, and their young daughter. And Charlie, as the result of her diagnosis, became an outspoken critic of the Defense of Marriage Act, which at that time prohibited her spouse and their daughter from receiving the benefits she had earned during her service. Sadly, Charlie did not live to see the Supreme Court overturn the Defense of Marriage Act. And despite the court's ruling, there are still provisions in the U.S. Code that deny equal treatment to LGBT families. One of those provisions is Title 38 regarding veterans' benefits. Today, if you're a gay veteran living in a state like New Hampshire that recognizes same-sex marriage, your family is entitled to all the benefits you've earned through your military service. However, a veteran with the exact same status, the same service record, same injuries, same family obligations, but living in a state that does not recognize same-sex marriage will receive less. There are even reports that the VA has required gay veterans to pay back benefits because their state will not recognize their marriage. In one case that we were notified about, a young woman, 50% disabled combat veteran, was initially approved for benefits for her wife and child. Later, however, she was told by the VA that because her home state did not recognize same-sex marriages, she was not only going to lose a portion of her benefits, but the VA was also going to withhold her future payments until the excess funds had been recovered. Perhaps for her, the most frustrating part of that story is knowing that if she had moved across the border to another state, she would never have had a problem. I hope that this committee and in the Senate, we can work together to correct this injustice. These young men and women have volunteered to serve in our armed forces. They've volunteered to put themselves in harm's way, to leave their families and their homes, to travel around the world to protect our way of life. And yet they're being deprived of very rights that they've risked their lives to protect. I think it's just unfair, Mr. Chairman, and we have an opportunity now to end this kind of discrimination against our veterans, to make our nation a fairer place. And I hope the committee will approve this legislation and that we can move it to a vote as soon as possible. Thank you very much.